Welcome back to the podcast. This time out, I'm speaking to Georgia Reid, an Australian singer-songwriter whose early single, Waiting for You to Run, is one of the finest guitar solos I've heard. I spoke to Georgia about her career, which early on included radio support from Triple J, one of Australia's biggest radio stations, and one that shot to fame on YouTube with the likes of Catfish and the Bottlemen, Kasabian and DMAs all doing like a version covers. In 2018, Georgia relocated to London, and we spoke about how that affected her music, taking such a leap. We also spoke about what's coming up in the future, and then at the end she picked her heroes. Hope you all enjoy the podcast. Please keep liking, sharing, subscribing, telling your pals, but more importantly just enjoy. Thanks. On the podcast this episode I have Georgia Reid, who is an Australian singer-songwriter. Quite like what I've the sound that I've got for you so far for listening to you, maybe a bit of Florence and the Machine, a bit of Will Fallis, and whatever else that you're going to kind of take for that and what you're going to tell me is your influences later on. But you've moved over to Britain now, for what I'm led to believe. We're going to touch on all that. But what I like to do at the start, go back to the start. What was life like for a young Georgia Reid growing up? Where you grew up and how you kind of came to get into music?
Wow. Funnily enough, I've actually heard the Wolf Alice reference quite a lot. And I don't hear it myself, but I love them as well. So it's always very flattering to hear all those artists that you love. Yeah, that's really nice to hear. I guess like growing up, my family are really into music. So my granddad actually played in a band in London, like ages ago when they were living here. And my mum was really young. And so there was always like music in the house and stuff when mum was growing up. And I think that just kind of obviously becomes the norm. So when I grew up, there was always music around as well. Like my grandparents would always have people playing like little jam sessions and stuff when we go over to their house, and that would be going on. So I was always around like guitars and all sorts, and music was always playing. So that's something that, yeah, has kind of just always been a part of my life. And they still do, like we go over there, back to Australia for holidays and stuff, and it's always just so much music around me. And then of course like going to WAPO as well, so like the music academy there, that was just amazing because you're just constantly every day surrounded by people doing what you do, and that's just really so inspiring as well.
So is that like, obviously there was, I think it was like the Brit School here where like the
Yeah, I think it's
Morel and
pretty
stuff like that went to, so is that
much.
similar?
Yeah, I think it's very similar. They do acting as well. So I think Hugh Jackman went there for acting, but then they also have the music section of it. So there's been quite a few like Australian successful artists come out of there as well. But yeah, it's just amazing. I ended up doing a singer-songwriter course. So I was lucky enough because most of the time you can't get in unless you know how to read and write music. And I didn't know how. And it was the first year that they were doing it where they were allowing people to go in if they didn't with this new course. And so I got into that, and it was just like the best thing for me because that's when I started realizing like that's what I want to do properly.
You said that it was like a singer-songwriter course. Obviously I kind of at the start of the intro there kind of said singer-songwriter, but I feel bad saying that because obviously like your later stuff, it seems to sound a bit fleshier. You get like maybe a band in about you, so I didn't know if you would take offence to the singer-songwriter.
I mean, realistically, at the core of it, it's me in the studio with, the stuff that I've written. In the earlier stuff, I definitely had more of my bandmates in the studio, playing the parts, and we'd go through different sections, and they'd be more involved in the process. But I mean, the core of the songs are all really the same. I write all of the melody, the lyrics, all of the chords, usually all of that. But then it's been really nice with like COVID coming in. Obviously, that's horrible, but I mean, it was such a different approach to having the new stuff produced. So a lot of it was done like remotely.
Hmm.
So it was just me and my producer James, and that was just, it kind of like pushed me as well to do even more. And so I was sending the demos. I didn't have anyone else to help with those things. I started recording my vocals in my bedroom, and it was really fun. And I think like I really like the outcome of it all, and I love the project. So I hope everyone loves it as much as I do. But yeah, I'm really proud of it because I feel like it's even more me than the last kind of few
Hmm.
I've put out, I think, because there's just me on it.
So, going back into Australia, even like young growing up, what was your influences then? What sort of music were you into then? Was it the singer-songwriter category then?
No, it was very, very pop. So I loved, I think the first person I loved was Delta Goodrem. I don't know if you guys like know her a lot, but
Yeah,
yeah.
you know the last that broke up Westlife, wasn't she?
I don't know. I don't hear much about her anymore, but I know she was on The Voice when I was on season one of The Voice, but no, I was like 17 or something, and no one turned their chairs for me. So, but she hugged me, and yeah, that was insane in itself. But she was my favorite, and then after her, I think Christina Aguilera. I was like obsessed with Christina Aguilera, and then after that came obviously Adele, as I'm sure like most female artists reference. but um,
Mhm.
but yeah, like I think as I grew up, it became like slightly more singer songwriter, slightly more indie. My dad kind of introduced me to like the indie scene a bit more. He was listening to it more and more, and I started listening to like the Jezebels, who were really big in Australia. And yeah, I just really got into like the instrumentation and like all the different like drum beats and the different guitar riffs. And I really like loved that a lot. I think you can hear that in the early stuff a lot as well.
So, like going forward into your kind of musical career, then, firstly, like what's the kind of music scene like in Australia? Because there doesn't seem to be that much that kind of transcends over to Britain.
Yeah, I think, I mean, when you go there, you realize it's actually just the other side of the world. It's crazy how far it is when you actually travel there. And so I think it makes sense that it is kind of its own bubble, in a way. I always felt like Australia is its own world, and then there's like the rest of the world with America, Europe, UK. It's just, it's so disconnected from that. So I think you've got to be so incredibly successful to kind of make that bridge over, and
Mhm.
connect with like the same audience. Also, because it's just like not financially feasible half the time. Imagine like traveling that often to be able to build like that fan base. It's, yeah, it's just not really feasible for a lot of musicians. So I think that's probably why there's only been so many who've been able to do that. And obviously, like they're incredible. Um, but yeah, I do think it's obviously a smaller field. The population is so much less as well, and the opportunities, they're just, there's a lot more in the UK, I find.
Yeah, it seems to be more kind of obviously it's been kind of traditionally more pop acts, obviously Kylie and Danny Minogue, Natalie and Brulia, that sort of stuff. But it has kind of crept in. Maybe I liked, for instance, Jet, the band Jet, and then
Oh,
obviously latterly now you get kind of the DMAs. So there
yeah,
is more of a kind of indie element coming through
yeah,
that are coming across here.
yeah.
I
I
think
think
with sorry, like with the DMAs, I think they've kind of embraced the Britishness as well. I think that's probably what's kind of made them so
works. Yeah,
successful over here.
I do think so. I think that's a big thing because you've obviously got Tame Impala, who were kind of like a pioneer
I
of
wrote
like
about them as
that,
well, yeah, cracking
yeah,
band.
like that kind of music scene kind of started with them, and then you've got the pop acts. But I think the the DMAs, if you put them on a stage in Australia, I remember before they got like big everywhere else, we used to say, "Oh my gosh, look at these guys! They just look like completely different to what you'd expect on a stage."
Hmm.
But if you put them on a stage in the UK, they fit. Like it doesn't look weird at all. I just think that image, you can see how it does like translate to the UK a lot more.
So, like, obviously, I want to talk about yourself, but like talking about DMAs actually, what is the kind of perception of DMAs back home then? Just because my pal, he's like, I'm no overly keen in DMAs, but I realise how big they are. And my pal's a big fan, and
Yeah,
he was over in Australia last year. His son stays out there, and he was over and he went to see DMAs when he was over in Australia, and he says that the crowd reaction was like it was really flat compared to what it's like
really,
over here. Yeah.
really. Oh wow, I'm surprised to hear that because I mean, I think from my experience of knowing them, they have such like a cult following in Australia. They're one of those bands that are just they've just blown up in Australia. They're huge and they're very I think they're very different to the other acts that were coming about at the same time as them. And so you've got I think a lot of young people especially are super into them. And then also the like a version cover that they
Hmm.
did of Cher, I think that has really that blew up, and everyone was constantly sharing it with everyone they knew because it was incredible. And you're looking at this guy who you wouldn't think has this voice of an angel, and he's singing just like insane. It's just yeah, it's amazing. And I think I saw people in the UK start sharing that as well. I've not actually seen them over here, so I can't really compare. But I know there's a huge following. Like they're really big in Australia. But I think like their image is very different and was very different at the time to the typical artist that was in
Right.
that genre. It was kind of looking at them, if you closed your eyes, you wouldn't imagine that whatsoever.
Yeah. So like, going back to yourself, and obviously you mentioned they're like a version, obviously Triple J, which
Yeah.
I I don't know how they came into my consciousness all those years ago, but is Triple J like the biggest radio station in Australia?
It's the indie ones. So we have like the really commercial radio stations, but yeah, Triple J is like I guess how you would have I guess it's kind of like more BBC Radio 1 where you
Hmm.
get more of like the indie influence. And then you'll get yeah, we have like Nova, um a couple 92.9. They're all like playing Katy Perry and stuff like that, so
Right.
it's very much like if you're up and coming, Triple J is kind of your main go-to for that. So it is a narrower field, I think, for artists to try.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
seen no, I've watched the video. I play. I played the Catfish and the Bottleman one to death. They done
Oh
like a
yeah,
cover of the Killers, and it's
yeah.
really good because Van McCann fucked up one of he sang the wrong verse, and it made it even better. I thought. But I did Triple J like a version things were amazing. I watched all of
Yeah.
them.
There's some amazing covers that come from that. Like it's such a great idea. I just yeah, and a lot of they do it internationally, of course. So like loads of the British acts come over and they do insane ones. I think Nothing But Thieves covered Gang of Youths, and that
Mhm.
was amazing as well. We play it all the time. We like download them on dodgy sites so we can play them all the time.
Yeah, well, that's what I think. I had them on my iPod, and I'd kind of
Yeah,
took them, um, whipped them off of YouTube, and made them into
yeah,
MP3s. I
yeah,
like
yeah.
brilliant.
That's it.
Yeah, there was a good Kasabian one as well. I think they'd done a cover of Cypress Hill,
Oh
but
yeah.
I mean, touching on that because early on in your career, you had the kind of support of Triple J and was it
Mhm.
Mix 945 Perth. So you
Yeah,
had kind of good support for the radios early on. So
yeah.
how integral do you think that was to like the start of your career, having that sort of backing?
I think really big, to be honest. It's weird to say, but I kind of had this vision in my head of what my first release was going to be like for so many years before it actually came out. And I've probably just, what do you call it when you manifest it? I literally was just, it seemed more unrealistic to me that I wouldn't get played on the radio than than it would if I didn't. So I kind of I just saw it happening, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a crazy thing to think, but like I literally just saw it happening. But then when I actually did it, I remember uploading my first song, Waiting for You to Run, and I put that on Triple J Unearthed, which is like BBC introducing over here. So I uploaded that, and you wait for Unearthed to play it, which is like introducing playing it. And then if they like it, you kind of hope that one of the presenters from like the main radio station, not the digital station, picks it up eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And I was waiting around and just sitting there and going, oh my God, no one's playing it. No one's like looking at it. No one's reviewing it. What's going on? And then my mom was like, just stop looking at it. Someone will do something soon. Don't worry about it. And so I went off to work and stuff. And then I remember like um my mom phoned me really early in the morning because I was out, and she said to me that my dad was driving really late at night for work, and he thought his iPod had came on in the truck he was driving, and he thought, oh, that's really weird. Like I can't switch it off. I don't know what's going on. And then at the end of the song, he heard these people saying, oh, and that was Georgia Reed with Waiting for You to Run, and like people saying they love it on the text line and stuff, and it was just absolutely bonkers that they had, the Honor team, which were a digital radio station, hadn't even played it yet. And Triple J just picked it up. So, I mean, whether it was luck or whatever, I'm putting like these spiritual vibes out in the universe. But yeah, that was huge because I think I got so much support from that and from the team that, I mean, they were amazing. They played all my singles. It was huge. And then we also had 94.5. I was on the scene a couple of times, which was really lovely. And yeah, everyone was just super great. And 96 FM as well. We did a cover of Rhiannon on there. I think it was a breakfast show or something. And that was fun as well. But yeah, it's so long ago now thinking about it. But it was yeah, really great because not everyone gets that. So
Mm.
yeah.
And that's the thing with it, that's just that song, Waiting for You to Run. Because obviously I've been listening to music the last couple of weeks, but I've got it in Spotify on shuffle.
Yeah.
So Waiting for You to Run was like one of the last songs that came on. And
Yeah.
I find it completely different for the rest, and it's
Yeah.
like such an early song. See the guitar solo in it is that's one of the best guitar solos I've heard.
Oh, he will love to hear that. I'll have to tell him to listen in now. I remember being in the studio and being like, do it again, do it again. I don't like it, do it again until I liked it.
Yeah, I mean it makes it stand out so much for that to be like your first release. It's
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about re-releasing it again since you've been over here?
I mean, I think that it's hard, but I think if there was a point where I was with a label or something, we would do that anyway.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't know about. I don't know. I don't know. That's a hard question. It's everyone's
I
favorite.
can guarantee it would be absolutely massive.
Maybe I should. I don't know. I can. Yeah, I
I
could
was
do
speaking to a
a
boy a
few.
couple of weeks ago, and
Yeah.
a guy from Newcastle, and he his latest single, they're called the PV Wonders. His latest single, Big X My Energy, it's called.
Hmm.
Um, his pals were producing it, and he'd went away. They'd done all the stuff for it, and he'd went away. He was back home, and Sam Fender was in with his two pals listening and produce it. And
Oh
Sam
yeah.
Fender's like, I'm just gonna. He says it needs something, and he's just put a guitar solo in it, and it's absolutely made it. And I so and that's just come out. That's only come out last month. So guitar solos are back. This is
Yeah.
the perfect time for it. I would re-release it next week.
Interesting. Maybe I should then. It's funny though because when I did it, it it was obviously quite a few years back, but when I did it at the time, I remember loads of people liking it, but then like just after I released it, a few people going, "Oh, it's really dated with the guitar solo," and I was like, "Shut up!
Oh,
Like I'm not even listening to you." And then everyone commented on how much they loved the guitar solo when it was out.
yeah. But yeah, we definitely need more of that and your new releases. It's
Yeah,
um,
maybe I should re-release. You've been the first person to put that in my head, so now
yeah.
who knows?
So like touring in Australia, like obviously, I mean, still before you've left Australia, you did the Fear and you kind of toured with that.
Yeah,
What's it like kind of touring in Australia? Obviously, Australia's massive anyway. So
yeah.
how
I
is it?
mean, yeah, insanely expensive to
Mhm.
start with. Like it's crazy expensive. Um, but I just had like the best time ever. I was lucky to get support slots for artists that I really loved. And so like even when I was just playing in Perth or something where I was living, I was playing with, all the people that I was listening to on the radio and like that was amazing. But yeah, it's tough, like kind of having such a long journey. I mean, people, even my partner, he thought that you could like drive to, the other states in like 3 hours or something. And I was like, no, no, it's like a 5 hour flight. You can't do that. So it's really far away. Um, but obviously, like the East Coast, there's a much bigger scene there than there is in Perth. You've got a lot
Mhm.
more people. I think people, especially like places like Bondi, people are really a lot more artsy, I think. So there and Melbourne, especially, all my band who I was around when I was living in Perth, they all live in Melbourne now because that's just the place to be, really, for music in Australia.
So I had actually, uh, I've had one other Australian guest on the podcast, and they were from Perth. They were,
Really?
they were a teenage fan club tribute band.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
but I think they do their own stuff. But they're called Star Sign. That's like the teenage fan club element. But I think they do their own work under the name Min Min Lights or something. But yeah, four guys for Perth, Australia, and they were in love with a band for 5 miles down the road from me, Bells Hill in Lanarkshire.
Oh, wow.
But I so as you say, then that's kind of what I got for them. Is that Perth was away kind of the other
Yeah.
side, and everything else was over the east, and it was hard for them to kind of connect. And
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was thinking actually about moving to Brisbane before moving to London, but it just happened that I ended up moving to London with my guitarist, because I noticed he was coming here, and I was kind of like, that's actually way cooler than moving to Brisbane. So, yeah, I ended up here. But yeah, everyone kind of just makes the shift over slowly. Yeah.
yeah, so that's what I was coming to next. Then obviously, it's, did it feel like a massive step then, or was it kind of did it feel like it was the natural move to come over here?
Um, I I like have never been someone who's been into, making big leaps and changes or anything. But I just remember like I'd come out of a, a long relationship, and I just remembered being really fed up with everything that was happening in my music. I wanted certain things I wasn't achieving, and there were things happening like I would get um, put on, I guess, like, how you have Fringe Festival and stuff. Like, we would have a similar one for WA, and I'd get put on at a jazz venue or something. And I was like, I'm not jazz. Why am I playing at a jazz
Mm.
venue? And that really like irritated me. And then I remember like on this particular night, I played that show at the jazz venue, and the Triple J presenters were there, and I had not a great sound engineer, and so like half of my tracks weren't played. There was no bass. It was shocking, and I was so upset. And that was kind of like the final straw for me, because I'd been thinking about going somewhere. I just felt like I need to get out. I'm just done. I can't do it anymore. And I just felt like I
Mm.
was kind of like a sense of me wasting my time just doing the same thing over and over and hoping for a bit more or something. Because there wasn't a lot else that I could really do. And so, yeah, I was thinking about Brisbane, but then I don't know how it happened, but I suddenly just like had an epiphany one day that all of my favorite artists are British. And so I went, hang on, maybe there's something there and I should look at that. But I didn't think my parents would let me. And then at that gig, they were all drunk. And so I just told them, I've had enough. I want to move to London. Cam's moving to London. I want to go with Cam. And they just said, okay then. And yeah, I like ordered my passport and everything. And I think he even didn't think that I was serious until I like showed him the tickets. And then yeah, like I was off in like 2 months. So it happened really quick, but it was like a weird feeling of like I've just got to be there. This is the right thing. I've just got to go. I've got to get out. And ever since I've been here, everything has just fallen into place for me. Like I got a job quickly. I met my partner. I've made loads of friends. The music scene here is incredible. I've managed to get a band really quickly. People come to my shows on the other side of London, and they've seen me once, and like that's amazing because like that just doesn't happen in Perth.
Mm.
So yeah, I think it was meant to be honest.
So obviously, you said it kind of happened so seamlessly. Because my next question, like regarding London, was going to be: did it feel like you were starting again for the bottom?
Yeah, no,
No.
no. I felt I think I felt at home pretty quickly, and I'm lucky that to be honest, I've got quite a lot of family over here. So come from London and then gone on to Australia. a lot of them are still here. So I think I never got homesick because they were always there to kind of ground me and
Mm-hmm.
make me not feel alone. Yeah, I think that is probably like the difference. Like a lot of people have that trouble if you're going somewhere and it's like you don't know anyone and you're literally starting from the bottom. That could be like really daunting. But I think it felt so magical. And like I literally will describe it as magic. I was living in Epsom when I first moved with my uncle Clive, who actually wasn't like a blood uncle, but he's
Right.
my grandparents' neighbor when they first lived in London. So I'd never met him, and we just rocked up and like lived with him, and those are the best memories ever. It was just the best time and absolutely magical. I was in awe of like the crispness of the winter and everything, and I still love that.
Well, I had friends as well. They just moved up here a few years ago. They moved up from Epsom. Um, that's a really nice bit, that as well, isn't that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love it. I mean, I'd love to live there, but I don't think we'll get to. But it's really nice. It has everything you need.
yeah, yeah. It's probably a bit too expensive for myself, but yeah. So, I mean, you weren't over here long though, and then we had like COVID. So,
Yeah,
how did you deal with that over here? Because you came over here, you kind of want to kick off the music, and then no long
yeah,
into it, you get a pandemic to kind of deal with.
yeah. Well, I just started playing live, so it was kind of a kick with that. That obviously got like put on hold. But I had started writing a lot of the material that is now on the EP. So
Mhm.
I was focusing on recording and like throwing ideas around. Do I record virtually or whatever? And that obviously ended up happening. And I luckily was out of the group of people who moved here at the same time as me from Perth. Um, all of them were working in like solely just music jobs. So when the pandemic hit, everyone had to go home because they lost all their jobs. Like they
Mhm.
weren't essential workers as such. And luckily, I was working in a GP. So I was NHS staff and I just kept going into work. So it kept me sane in a way. I wasn't stuck in the house. So I didn't have like the issues with, you know, like a lot of people talk about being creatively blocked because you're just going mad inside your house. But yeah, luckily I didn't have that. So I, yeah, I just kind of like had to take a different approach to recording.
Do you think then that helped you having that kind of time to kind of maybe no reinvent the wheel as such, but to kind of to rethink how you were going to progress your career?
Yeah,
So that's finished.
it definitely did. Because I think as well, like, I didn't want to just come out with the same sort of thing as in the past. I wanted to take a bit of a gap and some time and kind of like come back with a bang and really like strong image, a strong sound, something that was really complete and solid. Um, and yeah, so I kind of took that opportunity and thought I'm just going to take my time because I don't have anyone hanging out like knocking on the door saying when's the next single out or whatever. I don't have that. Like when you put out a single, everyone's asking when the next one's coming. And, I was lucky I didn't have that. So I did like capitalize on that. But then at the same time, like I found when COVID ended and everything started opening up again, I got really anxious and was like, oh my God, I'm not ready yet. Like, I can't believe it's all happening again. I haven't played a show. So that was like freaky to kind of manage.
it would be natural though to kind of feel like that. Obviously,
Yeah,
every day was dealing with anxiety in different ways back then. But
yeah,
for kind of when you know that you need to start releasing music and you don't know how it's going to be perceived or how
yeah,
well it's going to go down, I could imagine it must cause massive anxiety.
yeah. It's just,
But
I guess, like everyone went through it though. That's the thing. It's like it was such an unprecedented time. So, yeah.
so, how do you feel then that these run as singles have been for you? Like, obviously, you released Haunted, and Back in Time, and then Honey, and just last month you released the EP with these songs on them, and
Yeah.
some extras. So how's that went down with your audience?
Really well. I mean, I'm really surprised with I guess like the what do I say? Like the scope of people who are saying that they love it. Like there are people that I didn't think would even be interested that really love it, and it's just really nice having like such a supportive community around me, and everyone's just been so positive and supportive. All of my colleagues at my work as well, like they all were messaging me saying, "Oh, I listen to you while I'm riding my bike to work." And like they think I'm famous, and like it's just yeah. They say like they play it constantly. I tell people about it. Like it's yeah. Everyone is telling me their different favorites, which is really nice to hear as well. Everyone just like has a different favorite. But it's been really positive. It's been really good. I want to play more shows. I definitely need to lock in a full band gig. I've done a acoustic one, but I want to do like a full band proper big show, and then
Mhm.
get everyone to come to that. That would be like a big celebration of it.
So you mentioned that you've not got a manager. So how do you go about booking your shows? Do you just are you just organising yourself and dealing with promoters and stuff?
Yeah, I've always done it myself, to be honest. Like I kind of just worked it out when I was younger, like who to contact. And I just, yeah, like for example, there's band Sleep Makes Waves. They're like really big in their genre and very different to my genre. But I think The Fear, when I wrote it, I had a guitar part in it. And I was really inspired by one of the guitar parts in theirs. And so there was like a particular song, and I saw they were playing at one of the big venues in Perth, and I messaged them. I think I messaged their manager and also their publicist or something, and I just said, "Oh my gosh, I love it, and you know this inspired this, and blah blah blah," and just was really personal about it, and just let them know like why I loved it so much. And they listened to the song, and they really like appreciated all of that as well. And yeah, in the end, like they gave me the slot and we played the show and it was amazing. And like they have always been such a big support of mine since as well. Like they became friends, and that's just, yeah, it can work out really, really nicely when you genuinely want to be playing around someone.
So what before we go into what next, what's the dream? Like is the dream to be full time musician to stop
Yeah.
in the GPs? Is it like
Yeah. I
is that
mean,
the dream? Because it
yeah.
seems so hard now. Obviously, so many people I speak to and musicians, and they need to go and work to finance
Yes.
their
Yeah.
music. Where obviously I had a band on. I had Ryan for the K Zone a few months back. They've just had a number. Their debut albums went to number 3 this week, but they were up against the Libertines and Beyonce. That's
Yeah.
who beat them. So it's so hard. But I mean that's one band I know that they don't work. They just put everything into their music. but
Yeah.
it must be so tough for you to kind of make that decision.
Yeah, I think like unless you have a label, really, or you've got someone who's financially backing you, it's just not really doable because you don't get that return until you've hit like a certain level. And then even if you are signed to a label, you're only seeing so much come back really because you obviously are in debt to them for quite a while.
Mm.
So it's hard, but I think at least if you are with a label, you're able to have that money up front to go and book in and keep doing it. Even if you're working on the side, you can keep the ball rolling and you can just keep recording, keep putting it out, provided, they like it, obviously. So I think that, I mean, that would be the dream for me, I think, really, because I think I have so much in my head to put out there. I'm always writing. I just have so many songs that I think would be really great, but it's really hard to, put out something and then try and save for the next one.
Yeah.
It's tough. And yeah, like my first EP, I put out with money that my great aunt left me for the EP, and she told me use it for the EP before she died, and then I used it for that. So it's not, I mean, it's a big cost to put it out all the time. And
Yeah.
we put PR into accounts as well. Like, it's really hard. So I think that would be the dream for me, is just to have, yeah, like a label or an indie label, someone just to kind of help me get it out there with that
Yeah.
push.
So if any label bosses are listening to this, get in touch. I'll get you in touch with Georgia at the end of the show.
Just not the
Um,
dodgy ones.
so that's a dream, but for kind of the reality, kind of what's coming next, what's the next thing in the future for you?
So I'm going to sort out a full band show, lock it in very soon. So I'll be letting everyone know about that. And then also I'm going to start recording again in, I guess, like the coming months. Probably later this year. I will, yeah, start recording new music. Hopefully get it out as soon as possible for everyone. There's quite a few I've got demos for, so I'm really excited to show everyone the new stuff.
What would that be, like a collection of singles leading into an EP maybe again?
um, to be honest, I don't really know until I start. Like, because I don't know what they sound like or anything. Everything changes so much when you're
Hmm.
working on it. Even just from mixing it, it sounds different again. So I can never tell like what's my favorite, what I want to lead with, or what kind of formulation I want to have until I get there, really, to be honest. But there'll be a few, I can promise.
Another guitar solo. Remember the guitar solo?
Yeah, I'll try and get one of those.
Yeah. It's absolute genius when it kind of blew me away when it came on.
Oh, one
Um,
time we got played on Triple J and they cut the guitar solo.
what? That's mental.
I know. It was quite a long song though, so fair enough. Uh,
I so it's been great chatting to you. Obviously, the last bit of the podcast, it's been that long for I got in touch with PR and that, so I'm not sure if you were aware. But the last bit of the podcast, I asked my guest to pick four heroes to come for dinner. You know
oh,
about it?
yes, yes, I do. I
Right,
forgot about
right.
that.
I was just worried in case it sprung it upon
No,
you.
I remember. I remember.
So so it's four heroes to come for dinner.
Yeah.
Why they're your heroes and what would you cook for them? They can be for any aspect of your life. They can be dead or alive, they can be family, they can be just whoever
Okay.
you consider your heroes.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna say. Okay. I'm gonna say. Um, my uncle Clive, definitely. because he was just like the biggest legend I've ever met. And I wouldn't be where I am without him putting us up when I first moved. He just recently passed and I miss him a lot. So I think
Oh,
about
that's a
that a
shame.
lot. Yeah. Definitely Uncle Clive. He'd be a good crack at any dinner table. Um, and I would like, as like a hero, like an idol sense, I would say probably Marina Diamantis from Marina and the Diamonds.
Right.
I was watching like a interview of her just very recently because I've loved her for ages, and she just is so similar to me in a lot of different ways, and she talks about different things. I just feel like I have like a lot in common with her view of the world and stuff, so I feel like we would be good friends or something. um, Number three, I'm gonna say Adele because she's hilarious and you can't help but laugh and have a great time when you're listening to her chat.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interview or whatever. And I idolize her. She's incredible. And then lastly, I'm gonna say my dad because I think my dad's one of my heroes. Um, like definitely, yeah, yeah, dad's a lot of fun at a dinner table as well, and he's like my biggest fan. So he tries to push to get me played on things all the time, like texts in. So yeah, number one.
That's really nice though as well. It kind of obviously being so far away from home, obviously you must think about your family a lot. Um you must miss your dad being the other side of the world. So
I
you can
miss it.
understand completely why he'd be in there.
Yeah, I think like yeah, I've been lucky to get back three times in the past 6 months. So it's enough for me for now. but yeah. As soon as you leave, it's funny, you're like, oh, I actually miss the heat and I miss being around the fam and everything. But yeah.
Yeah. And so what would you cook these guys?
I think I would cook them probably a citrus chicken roast with rosemary and parsnips and carrots and roast potatoes because that's kind of my go-to when I have like family over and like friends over and stuff. I do a big roast like that.
That's quite a kind of Britishy style thing. I was
I know.
in some sort of Australian. I don't know what I
Isn't
don't know.
really an Australian thing though? That's the thing. Like, I don't know what's Australian. I don't know. I like cooking that. It's easy. And then maybe a shepherd's pie I could do. I'd probably do a cheesecake afterwards, a baked cheesecake. I like making those. Make those a lot. They're good.
Oh, that sounds nice. I might need to come to this dinner party as well. It's been a while since I had a cheesecake. Um, I mean Adele as well. Adele's a great pick. You've picked two females there.
Yeah.
So being like a female artist yourself, is that kind of are they some of the people that you kind of do you prefer listening to the female voice?
I don't think I prefer listening to them. Um, I think they're like very strong icons though.
Mm.
For females, they're very strong for the genre that they're in. I just find them, I guess, really inspiring. Probably more inspired by the females because I can obviously like relate, and I think, oh, I'd love to be like that, or I'd love to be doing that show, and I'm admiring, their presence on stage and all of those kinds of things. I think, yeah, that's really great. Whereas with the men, I'm more probably listening to like instrumentation and the music more so.
Mm. Yeah, I mean Adele's another one of my kind of dream guests. I'd love
Yeah.
to have her. I found her. I don't know if it's her current manager or her ex-manager. I sent him an email, but I never get any reply. I thought I was pushing it, going for somebody as big as that, but
You're
um,
probably in the spam filter, like stuck
yeah,
in one now.
I've even tried. I'm desperate to get Lily Allen as well.
Oh,
She just
yeah.
started her own podcast, and I heard her on some other podcast last week as well. So I'm kind of thinking, right, she's out there now, so there's
Oh,
maybe a chance of getting her.
right. I've actually got her
Phone
biography.
number?
I read her biography.
I thought you
No,
were going to say you
I
got a
know
phone number.
you
I'll text her for you now.
thought. Listen, I wouldn't be up and coming or something if I had her phone number. I'd be big by now.
But I try and guess. I think again, I keep saying this the last 20, 30 episodes, everybody keeps picking different heroes. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm on to about this will be episode 83 or 84 or
Oh my
something. So
God.
the first 50 episodes,
Yeah.
everybody was just picking John Lennon, constantly John
Really?
Lennon. And I the last running maybe 20, 30 episodes, it's different people every week. So
Yeah.
it's a lot more varied.
Oh
Um,
wow.
nobody's picked your dad and nobody's picked your Uncle Clive. That's the first time they've ever been picked. So, but that'd be a bit weird if they'd already been picked.
Mom's
But
not going to be happy when she hears this. She got
well, I'm sure you would invite her as well, but she
yeah.
just knows that you prefer your dad to your
Limited seats. So
But absolute pleasure speaking to you.
you too. Thanks for
All the best, and hopefully, um, the dream comes true.
having. Thank you.
But I'll keep in touch. I'll post all your links on the socials and stuff like that.
Thank
And every day go and listen to Georgia Reid. But I thank you very much for coming on, Georgia. Thanks
thank
for spending your Saturday night with me.
you. Thank you. Thanks,
Thanks.
Alex.
I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Time for Heroes podcast. If you would like to get in touch, the best way is on the Facebook page, Time for Heroes Podcast, or on Instagram at Time for Heroes Podcast, or Twitter at Time for Heroes P1, or drop me an email at timeforheroespod@gmail.com. You'll find Time for Heroes on all podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple, Google, and Amazon. Please leave a review where you can, share with others, and more importantly, enjoy.